Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Terra Mystica. It's time for a faction selection video for another one of my games in Season 37 of the tournament. As it happens, the game in which, that is say, the second game in which I will be choosing a faction is actually the game in which I am 4th seat. The game in which I was 1st seat we already did, that was probably yesterday's video, I assume. Where I'm in seats 2 and 3, nobody's done anything yet. But when I'm in seat 4, players 1, 2, and 3 have already chosen their faction, so this is my next choice here. As you can see, the opponents have chosen Mermaids in seat 1, Darklings in seat 2, and Chaos Magicians in seat 3. So, I figure we may as well, it's less likely to matter this game, but I may as well look at the tournament profiles of my opponents. It won't tell me who they might choose to pick, like in the last video, because I can already see what they picked. But I might learn roughly how strong they are, or maybe the big Chris just really loves mermaids, and I don't know, and didn't pay enough attention to the faction selection and just clicked mermaids because he loves them. I don't think that's true, especially since I remember seeing the big Chris's thing, and mermaids are way down here. And he's, he or she, right, rated 1082. My rating is 1043, I think? 1044 or something like that? I don't know. I've only played 5 games that are rated, 4 in the tournament, and 1 when I was just learning, what the heck this website was. I got clobbered as the witches, by the way. Final score of 90-something. I was not a very good player at the time. Not that I am now, but I've improved a lot since then. Anyway, so the big Chris does not particularly love mermaids, but in this game thought that the mermaids were quite suitable. I wonder why that is. Nothing here screams mermaids to me, except the presence of the shipping scoring tile. I guess the other thing is that there are a lot of coins present and a relatively small number of workers present. So that encourages the mermaids as a faction that is good at generating workers and needs coins in order to do so. I don't think I would have chosen mermaids, but I see where you're coming from here. How about this player, something 67, has been as high as Division 5, and really, since entering the tournament, just climbed immediately to rank 6 and stayed there. The last 3 seasons were in 5, but I guess had a bad season 36 and got demoted. Okay, and similar rating, not too surprising. Wow, yeah, this is what you expect these wheels to look like, is people picking Darklings all the time, because Darklings are just so good. Why would you pick anything else? And Cultists number 2, Engineers number 3, Witches. Yeah, this is kind of what my understanding of the higher level meta is, except that I thought Mermaids were often better than Nomads, so this is a slight surprise, but pretty small sample size. So that player picked Darklings. Sure, seems probably reasonable. It's hard to ever argue with that. The setup doesn't look especially strong for Darklings, but the whole point is that they're kind of good independent of the setup. And it does have Sanctuary scoring and the Priest bonus tile, so those are probably by themselves enough to make Darklings totally playable. This is probably good, I don't know. It's a little bit of work to get a Sanctuary in round 2. I wonder if the Darklings could possibly get a Sanctuary in round 1. I know it can be done, but it's extremely difficult, right? And you'd love to do it here. So you need a total of 8 workers. And you start with 4. So maybe you grab this, and that gets you up to 6. You still have to find 2 more from power. Which, okay, you could take the 2 worker power action. But even assuming you've done that, you still need to come up with some coins, right? You have 15, and it costs 18. So you have to find 3 coins as well. this is an argument, like, by the way, for just trying to get this bonus tile. Like, I'm number 4, right? I can take my pick of all the bonus tiles. And I'm not sure if the Darklings could get a Sanctuary in round 1, but the Chaos Magicians absolutely could. If they get this bonus tile, they'll be very happy, right? That's the 2 workers they need to get their Sanctuary down. In terms of coins, it's a little expensive, right? They have to come up with a couple, but they can do that with power pretty easily, since they don't need to spend power on workers to get up to 8 like the Darklings do, if they get this. So I haven't decided on a faction yet, but this is a bonus tile I'm strongly considering, just because it's like going to make life very unpleasant for the Chaos Magicians. But maybe they're not the ones I should be thinking about, right? Maybe I should be improving my own lot in life, not just trying to make enemies. Okay, and how about player 3, Assel Donkey? Kind of dipping back and forth. I don't know. Been playing since season 23, and I think hasn't missed a season. Preference for witches. And pretty all-around player, I would say. Goes for everything. You would expect to see a few more Darklings plays than this. So this is someone who, it seems to me, must look a lot at the setup. And try to base a pick on that. Speaking of which, I guess I should study matchups a little more, right? Like, as I said in the first video, it seems to me that the higher level players are paying less attention to the setup than I am, and more attention to who the opponents are. The other, not the players, but what factions they've chosen. And here in seat 4 is when I have the most information about that. So I should, like, look up who wins in Mermaid Darkling Chaos Magician games, right? And try to pick that. Answer is probably the Darklings. But, so, we only have 4 colors to choose from, which makes this a slightly simpler choice, I think. Especially because most colors don't even have 2 viable choices, like Orin are just garbage in almost every setup. Fakir's garbage in almost every setup. Halflings usually bad unless there's like round 4 digging bonus. Digging scoring, I should say. And cultists generally good, so you need quite a good reason to go for halflings over cultists. Dwarves are often not that great, but there was a game last season where they were excellent, and I got them and just squeaked out the win. But generally, engineers are better. So what can we, like, discard immediately? Well, almost nothing. I feel like everything here is sort of okay. Each color, anyway. Cultists are generally good, and there are no cult-focused factions in the game right now. I mean, Chaos Magicians can go kind of culty. But it's not like... I don't know. I don't really understand who the cult-focused factions are, to be honest. Orin, right? But you don't have to worry about that. So the cultists seem like they could be playable. They would have a good chance of, like, winning some cults, right? And I'm not very good with the cultists. A lot of my experience with this game has, like, okay, I got some good experience from the tournament, but I played very little against live players. I get most of my practice in against, like, the AI, and it is like a very one-trick pony. It doesn't really know... I don't know. It does the same thing every game. And so Brown is always sandwiched between, like, Darklings and Nomads. So I have very little practice as cultists. I suspect that they may be good here. There are also, though, some points against them that jump out to me, like the Sanctuary Stronghold bonus occurring twice cultists don't really like to build their sanctuary or stronghold, and furthermore, there's this here, so there's a lot of scoring tiles that are not working well for the cultists right now. I think we can discard halflings, they're just no good. We could discard the Orin. The witches could be okay. I'm not sure exactly how you would open as them. I do see there's repetition of air cults, and the witches start with 2, so it wouldn't be that much work to get a dig here and some workers here, but that's not a huge... It's not like in my dwarves game last season where it was like 2 earth bonuses right at the beginning. It's like 2 kind of like air bonuses spread, and like, you know, 1 kind of in the middle of the game and 1 at the end, so not that exciting. But you know, town scoring, we could certainly try to get a town by round 3, and the witches would be happy to do that. I don't really see any reason to pick the fakirs, but I also don't really know what reasons to pick the fakirs are. So I'm just going to say that I'm not an experienced enough player to even consider them, and therefore I will discard them. Maybe they're... I know you can read like situations in which they are good, but I don't know what those are. The nomads seem like they could be playable. If nothing else, there's like fire and earth cults in here, but like there's every cult, so that's not a big consideration. But what I do see for the nomads is... Okay, in my last nomads game, I talked about how beginners, I have heard, overvalue the nomad stronghold and rush it out too soon. And so that game, I didn't do that. I never built a nomad stronghold. I built a temple, I upgraded my digging, and I like eventually squeezed out 3 towns, but it was like not a very compelling performance. Here, though, in position 4, I could guarantee picking up this tile, which also, I believe, annoys at least the Chaos Magicians and perhaps the Darklings, and therefore be richly rewarded for my early stronghold, right? And following this, there's a trading post scoring round, and nomads have excellent trading posts. If you can get like a 3rd or 4th one down, you're just swimming in coins. I'm not sure I could get a 3rd or a 4th one down that early, especially after investing in a stronghold so early. But I could get probably 2, right? Like, I'm not sure. Maybe it would be better to just like go for a temple. I guess that's a question to ask. Is this a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game? Right? Are there a lot of scoring bonuses to encourage you to take, like, to build up your economy? Or should you be working on taking, like, scoring favor tiles? Where do your points come from? This is not a very high-scoring set of round tiles, I don't think. Like, you can definitely get 5 here, 3, maybe 6 here, and 5 here. Nomads don't have much trouble getting a town in round 3, especially if they've built a stronghold. So that's like 13, maybe 16. You could plonk down a few dwellings. So call it 20, 22, something like that. And that's probably it. Which is not bad, but like I've had games where I scored like 36 or 38 from round scoring, and so low 20s is kind of meh. And likewise down here, the scoring tiles are not very good, right? This is really the main one we would be looking at. It's just like whenever we can pick this up, we get 4 points for it. Nice. Here, you know, you're going to have to fight the mermaids for it, but it could get you a few points. Not that many, I think, because you probably, if we go nomads, which I have not decided on yet, you probably only want 1, maybe 2 shipping to kind of like link up this whole area. You know, one question that occurs to me, where are the Chaos Magicians going to put their dwelling? For that matter, where are the Darklings going? I assume it'll depend on what I choose, but... like, the Grey factions just don't seem very good, and they're one of the Darklings' sort of best collaborators on the Eastern continent. And I don't think I'm picking either of them. So the Darklings will have to work with blue and whatever I choose. They could maybe place here and hope the Chaos Magicians take D7. But D4 is a pretty strong Chaos Magician starting location, so that's sort of what you would expect. If you can make that at all appealing to the Chaos Magicians, they'll take that. I kind of think that if we go cultists, we could take E6. That would definitely get the Chaos Magicians as a neighbor. E5... like, the Darklings might take it? And that would not be great. You know what? I don't think the Darklings would take E5. Because the Mermaids are going to want E4, and if cultists, me, go on E6, Darklings just have nowhere to go from E5. So I think it would be more about taking E6 and then trying to take E5 out from under the noses of the Mermaids. But I don't think that would actually work. I think the Mermaids would get it. Right? They're going before me. They might very well take a power bonus and just start with a double dig and grab E5 and, I don't know, C3. But, you know, you can make an okay, like, you know, red's only two steps away, so we can make a town like here. If we were the cultists, it's possible. That would be one space, and the other one, I don't know, B2? Like, B2 is pretty nice, except that it's not. Because the cultists need neighbors, and they want them as early as possible. And there's no way, I don't think, that the Darklings would start on B3. And the Mermaids are not going to start on A4, probably, right? E4 and D5 is a popular opening, I believe. And yeah, D5 is going to actually be very popular because the Chaos Magicians are going to be providing a neighbor on D4. And they're not even competing for space with the Mermaids. Look at this. The Mermaids go here, Chaos Magicians go here. Everybody's happy. Cultists going here, I could be happy as well and benefit from all this neighborliness. But nomads could start here and like go this way, right? Taking the mermaids at E4 as allies. So I think those are my two top choices, nomads and cultists. I don't really believe in witches here. It's a tough choice. I don't know. In the last video, I had kind of already decided on Darklings before I started talking through things, because I had to do a bunch of like research to figure out how Darklings are. You're supposed to play Darklings to make sure that it was okay to like not have the priest scoring tile, for example. This video, I like kind of understand nomads, and I don't understand cultists very well. And I just don't know which of them to choose. I think those are the only two choices. Engineers are a strong faction, but this doesn't look like the setup for them. And also, like, Chaos Magicians are going to make life difficult for them. Right. The classic engineer towns both have some key Chaos Magician squares, hexes rather, that could be taken. All right, let's review the bonus tiles again. I don't know. My problem with the cultists is that the cult steps are so varied. You're not getting to like double dip early on anything, or even late, right? Eventually you get paid twice for air. There are 2 digs on the cult track, which is nice for cultists, and we could probably get to 4 of each, no real problem. But getting to 8 of either is probably not going to be that worthwhile. And meanwhile, like, you've got all these Sanctuary Stronghold scoring rounds that just suck. And a Trading Post scoring round is, like, not that amazing. Town, meh. Like, you could probably get 1, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'm coming around to the idea that Nomads might be the way to go here. And I mean, there's no color you could pick that doesn't have a neighbor right now, right? We have black, red, and where is it? Blue. So any faction we choose has exactly 1 color neighbor. I don't know. I feel like in this set of opponents, cultists are supposed to be pretty good. I just don't see them working well with the setup, and maybe I'm like overvaluing that because I'm still a bad player. I just can't help myself. I feel like I have to pick Nomads with the stronghold scoring early and the ability to grab this to make it even better, and thereby annoy the Chaos Magicians. Suppose I did that. Where am I placing my dwellings? Well, probably D3. I want to be friends with the mermaids. I mean, like, the classic Nomad starting locations, as far as I'm aware, are like D3, A5, and F3. One thing I'm a little concerned about is Darklings taking C1. They have a nice town here, which interferes with my E2. But if I get Sandstorm, it's not the biggest problem for me to go a different direction, like down to F2 or something. E3 to F2. I'd really love, of course, to Sandstorm D2 and just, like, really annoy them, but they're going to be digging before I am, before I get Sandstorm up and going. Especially because the Stronghold costs all 8 of my starting workers, even with the +2 bonus. So if I want to actually put down a dwelling in round 1, I'll have to stop off for the worker power action. No, it doesn't cost 8. A Sanctuary would cost 8 workers, but a Stronghold just costs 6. So I'll actually have 2 left over. So my candidate turn 1 would be like Trading Post, Stronghold, Sandstorm. How about the Darklings? They're going to want to start Trading Post, Temple, Dig. So if if they need to do anything else, we could actually successfully Sandstorm D2, perhaps. So maybe a C1 Darkling is not the biggest problem in my life. But okay, whatever. D3 still seems fine, whether they're here or not. It might require a little fiddling. A5 could be okay. Eventually you'll have the mermaids on A4, but that'll be a while. Eventually you might get the cultist on A6, but that would be bad, actually, because that's making it hard to finish up your town. You'd like to go this way, I think, to A7. B4 is another tile the nomads can sometimes start on. It's a little awkward, but you could dig this way. I don't know. I feel like cultists are the right choice, but that I'm going to pick nomads anyway. Just because I don't know how to play the cultists. Right, I think in Division 1, almost every game... That's actually... That should be fun. Let's go... Well, it's so early in the season, we won't really see what Division 1 looks like yet, I imagine, right? Most of the games don't have factions chosen yet. Yeah. Darklings and engineers. That's it, right? I was just going to say, in higher divisions, I don't think you ever get the choice to play cultists 4th, because they're just good in so many setups. But it just looks so awkward to me, and nomads get this big head start of like 9 extra points right here. Right? And then an excuse to build trading posts, which you kind of want to do anyway. I'm not sure when I'm fitting in my temple or what favor tile I'm taking, which kind of makes me sad. But I think I want F3. This is an okay spot for part of a town, and I'm not sure exactly where I'll finish it off, but probably no one's going to be fighting me for F4, so I can always sandstorm that if I have to. Yeah. And if I can get to E6, I'll have a lot of neighbors building near me to get more leech. I'm going to pick nomads. I know this is like a beginner thing to do. Like, I don't know, nomads, as I understand it, are a beginner faction. They're easy to play, but don't actually do that well in the hands of stronger players. Here, they seem pretty good to me. And I don't really know what I'm supposed to do if I pick cultists instead. So there you go. Yeah, that'll do it, I think. I haven't hit save yet, but I will. Oh, I had to hit moves. Okay, yeah, set up nomads. And I still have to hit save. I can still back out. But this is as much thought and planning as I can really put into this. Round 1, get a stronghold and a dwelling with the stronghold bonus just to annoy red and black. Try, if I can, to pass after black, actually. Because I don't want him to get the stronghold tile from me. That's a good question. How many actions am I taking in round 1? Trading post, stronghold. Or if I do pass before him, try to ensure that another player also passes before him. Trading post, stronghold, sandstorm, and then if I want, I can delay between the sandstorm and the build, because I don't really think anyone else is going to take the yellow tile that I sandstormed. It's just going to be awkward for them. It would be nice in some situations to try to make sure I sandstorm undesirable tiles instead of using it on my brown and red tiles nearby. Right? Those are my neighbors. Yeah. So that I can just use ordinary digs on those. But that's like not like a super important concern, I think. It would be kind of nice to get a point of fire somehow this round, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to be mostly ignoring the cults. Because it's going to be a while before I get any priests. Anyway. I guess there's a cult bonus. But outside of round 1, there's not anything that a single cult step would help me that much with. And I don't want that for round 1. So I'm just going to kind of sit around down here most of the game. All right. I'm hitting save. There you did it. There we go. We're the nomads. It happened. It's not really my turn to move in any games, right? Ah! One of my other games is ready. Okay, well, we'll do that, I guess, the next video. I'll be recording pretty shortly. I don't know what game that was, but probably I have another faction to choose. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.